Afternoon. Welcome to one more day of Green Rio. We will start now the panel Green Potential of the Intellectual Property. This is about the law of bioeconomy and intellectual property. So I'd like to invite to the table, the president of INPI, Mr. Julio Moreira. Mariano Richeri. And we will also have a representative who will come from the European Commission and join us remotely. Diana Monter-Mentz, represented by John Basil. I'd like to thank everybody for their presence. We are getting one more year. We're receiving the AL-INVEST Green program from INPI and the European Union. I will send now the word to Mariano, who will be the moderator of this table. The floor is yours. Thank you very much, Monica. Welcome, everybody. I will start to pass the word to the European Commission first, to Mr. John Basson. If we could please make the connection remotely to him. He will be talking about from Brussels. Is that John? A gente te vê. Boa tarde, vocês estão me ouvindo?
Well, we can hear you.
Nesse momento a gente não está conseguindo ouvir o senhor. Boa tarde, vocês conseguem me ouvir? Agora testando? Agora sim, ok. Muito bem. Então, meu português não é tão bom, então eu acho que tem tradução aí, então podemos falar em inglês, certo? Sim, existe tradução, não há problema. Perfeito. Muito bem. Meu nome eu estou muito feliz de estar aqui para falar em lugar da Comissão Europeia, junto com os palestrantes que estão presentes, o presidente Moreira aí e o senhor Richelli Conferrara. Eu trabalho no Diretório de Comércio Geral da Comissão Europeia. Nós somos responsáveis pelas relações comerciais com o Brasil e também outros acordos regionais. Estou representando minha colega Diana Monteiro Melles, que infelizmente não pôde estar presente. Este evento é apoiado pela AL-INVEST Verde Programa da União Europeia, a Parceria Latino-Americana para o Crescimento Sustentável. Essa é a sexta a edição deste programa e que está sendo o programa principal do desenvolvimento do setor privado na América Latina nos últimos 29 anos. E este apoio tem sido dado também ao setor público, além do privado, para poder criar um ambiente para que o setor privado possa progressar. É uma cooperação de negócios procurando investimentos para apoiar a inovação e melhorar as condições de trabalho de pequenas e médias empresas. A edição presente quer fomentar o crescimento sustentável e criar emprego, tentando criar uma economia mais circular, com mais eficiência de recursos e com menos carbono. Uma chave importante é os direitos de propriedade intelectual, que nós vamos discutir em mais detalhes agora. Além disso, o programa tem dois outros pilares. Um deles que fala das pequenas e médias empresas nessas áreas da transição verde e mineração, construindo parcerias com o setor privado. Dessa forma, nós queremos criar cadeias de valor sustentáveis e a produção de recursos, de produtos e serviços com mais eficiência de recursos e menos poluentes. Além disso, nesse pilar, nós temos 10% das propostas recebidas foram do Brasil. O terceiro pilar dá avaliações técnicas para o setor público latino-americano para promover cadeias de valores sustentáveis consistentes com os compromissos assinados naqueles acordos com a União Europeia para fomentar cadeias que respeitem o ambiente e os direitos humanos e promover a melhor compartilhamento de melhores práticas no nível local. A rastreabilidade e as redes sustentáveis no Brasil têm muitas iniciativas com o selo verde em Minas Gerais, com Imaflora e também com Amigos da Terra na Amazônia brasileira. Então, falando agora mais especificamente do tópico desta discussão da propriedade intelectual, eu acho que todos concordamos que é essencial para a criatividade e a inovação. Um estudo de 2020 do Escritório de Propriedade Intelectual Europeu e da Escritório de Patentes revelou que as indústrias criaram 30% de todos os empregos, as indústrias relacionadas com a propriedade intelectual desde 2017 a 2019. Isso é mais de 50% do PIB da Europa, que são 6,4 trilhões de euros. Além disso, também tem a responsabilidade pelo maior comércio exterior da Europa. Então, a propriedade intelectual também paga salários muito bons, com um salário de 41% de indústrias, 41% acima das indústrias que não têm essa capacidade inovativa. Não existe outra indústria que tenha algo comparável. Nesses últimos anos, temos priorizado a transformação digital e ambiental da economia através do Green Deal europeu. Essa transição deve ir acompanhada de equidade social, competitividade e inovação. Mesmo que não sejam chamados pelo mesmo nome, eu acho que o Brasil tem um objetivo muito parecido de transformar sua economia diante dos desafios que todos enfrentamos. Isso requer inovação adaptada às circunstâncias locais. Neste contexto, o AL-INVEST Verde, o programa AL-INVEST Verde, vem da compromisso para o desenvolvimento sustentável e a definição do papel da inovação neste objetivo. Nós objetamos alavancar a propriedade intelectual para promover a justiça para que enfrentamos os desafios do século XXI. Criar economias resistentes, eficientes e inovativas. E para que isso seja bem sucedido, invenções são muito necessárias. E aí a questão é como que a propriedade intelectual pode contribuir. Uma questão que eu gostaria de trazer é um sistema eficiente de proteção de patente para encorajar o desenvolvimento de novas tecnologias e práticas sustentáveis. Isso pode incluir tecnologias em áreas como, por exemplo, energia limpa, conservação de água, proteção de resíduos e etc., produção de resíduos. De acordo com estimativas recentes, o mercado desse setor verde será de 4 trilhões de euros desde 2020 e deve chegar a 10 trilhões até 2030. Então é claro que é um mercado em expansão. Um outro aspecto da propriedade intelectual que nós acreditamos que está conectado com essa agenda são as indicações geográficas para distinguir produtos em diferentes origens geográficas com determinadas características específicas que são únicas àquela localização e à sua produção. Isso implica também uma organização coletiva que faz com que as cadeias de valores tenham a sua origem e isso seja associado ao seu valor. Para fazendo esse elo entre a área de produção e aumento de valor, nós temos, claro, que nós promovemos o uso mais sustentável de recursos naturais locais e isso pode incentivar as pessoas a ter práticas mais amigáveis com o ambiente para preservar o patrimônio cultural e tantas outras coisas, ao mesmo tempo que combatemos os desafios, como, por exemplo, com métodos inovativos inovadores para tentar gerir os recursos naturais. Então, manter o equilíbrio ecológico e manter os indicadores geográficos dentro de uma característica sustentável. E nós precisamos, hoje, dentro desse Green Rio, nós temos a oportunidade de ver projetos como, por exemplo, AL-INVEST e outras iniciativas também implementadas por nossos parceiros, estão alinhando também a propriedade intelectual nesses desafios. Nós vamos falar da interseção entre as localidades geográficas, propriedades intelectuais e seus impactos nas regiões. Através da colaboração e inovações, nós queremos ressaltar como diferentes iniciativas baseadas em propriedade intelectual podem contribuir para o desenvolvimento tecnológico e também uma plataforma para discutir soluções para práticas locais mais sustentáveis. Concluindo, senhoras e senhores, o programa AL-INVEST, eu acho que incorpora um princípio que a Europa e o Brasil têm muito a ver com, que é inovação, respeito à intelectualidade cultural, colaboração e a sustentabilidade. E eu acho que esperemos juntos podamos construir um futuro que respeite o nosso planeta e comparta valores que nos unam. E por isso nós precisamos desenvolver ferramentas que vão nos ajudar a atingir o potencial máximo do maior recurso natural, que é o nosso cérebro. Obrigado pela atenção.
Olá.
Thank you, John. Now we're going to give the floor to Mr. Julio Cesar, President of INPI.
Boa tarde a todos.
Good afternoon, everybody. Hello. Now, yes. Okay. It's a great pleasure to be here talking to you. If you expect me to talk only about geographic location, you're very, very wrong. If you expect me only to talk about brand, you're in the wrong place. I will not talk about transfer technology contracts in this public. The point is, I'm going to tell you a little small story for you to understand why we are here today with you. So, in 2017, 2018, the INPIs saw a new steel startup. And this startup came into the market with one single process. The process that it had enhanced was for treating solid residue, solid wastes. And it came into the market, and through the strategy, it came directly to the INPI, and through the program that we have since 2012 to accelerate green patent programs, they got their patent quickly within Brazil, and through Brazil, they were able to reach different countries in the world after their results here in Brazil. And now this company was bought by Vale do Rio Doce in 2020 for 2 million reais. Probably we could have had cases with other colleagues in Brazil who arrived at innovation when they placed the product in the market where they didn't realize the intellectual property protection importance, whether it's to business secrecy or the brand protection or protection of patents, or if it's through the protection of the local geographic indication and its commercial use.
So I will be brief because I have a limited amount of time, but in this slide you can see the discrepancy we have here in relation to Brazil and other countries. So this index is the purchasing power of the Brazilian market. We are in 8th place, that's on the left side, and when we look at the ranking of the technological production of patents, we are in 47th place. So the power of our economy does not correspond to our capacity for protection. Is it just about protection? No. It's about protecting our products in our internal market so we can have the capacity to put those products in the international market. We are known in Brazil as the breadbasket of the world, and that in part is because of our production of soy and cotton, its derivatives, as well as corn. So you could say, okay, so are we behind? No, a lot of high-end technology is generated in these areas. If we speak about soy, we're speaking about transgenic soy. We're speaking about genetic modifications conducted in a seed that is the property of a company. That means market reserves, that means market power, that means having priorities in our production, in the purchase of these seeds, and that means high economic power that is very justified. And behind the production of the soy seed, there is a very high-end technology. So you must be looking at me now like, why is this interesting to me? Does this apply to me? Yes, it does. When we look at, for example, this might be a more important topic for you all, but if we look at our next industrial policy from the National Council for Industrial Development that's being managed by our Ministry of the Development of the Industry and Trade by Minister Alckmin with the new national policies, we have 6 missions. And in all of them, we can see that the word sustainable appears, access to healthcare, guaranteeing resources for the next generations. And we cannot do this if we do not have these aspects of sustainability and renewable energies considered in these processes. Everything that we do today around the world is led by this need of us saving the investment and having renewable resources, and also using what we have today properly. This is where we are situated in the world. As you all know, the economy that moves the world is the economy of knowledge, and in Brazil's specific case, those that use industrial property and intellectual property more are universities, and we need to transform this reality. We need to get closer to small companies, small inventors, and give them the possibilities of protecting their assets. But in the current moment, universities are indeed the big generators and creators of patents in Brazil. They generate knowledge without reaching the market. So they generate knowledge but not innovation. So one of our tasks as the Office of Intellectual Property has to do with guaranteeing that this knowledge is appropriated in an adequate way and that it can reach the market for the population's benefit with new products, new technologies, so that we can develop our country and our people through the use of these technologies. Of course, behind all of this, there is an aspect that has an impact in the judiciary level. I actually have a background in chemical engineering in the oil area, but today, after 26 years in the Institute, I'm also a lawyer. So I learned in practice, and I learned that when we speak about intellectual property, it's not enough to show up with an open heart. We need to be backed up by professionals who know about this subject, and we need to have a team of people dedicated to this subject. Not because it is difficult or complex, but because if we don't know how to adequately use this, in some point we will be caught off guard and not know how to deal with what comes to us. So this applies to everything. In the case of the Brazilian industry, we can speak about the pharmaceutical industry, biopharmaceuticals, etc. A country like Brazil today, with the biodiversity that it has, the highest biodiversity in the world, very rich biodiversity, like the Amazon, our Atlantic rainforest, our Cerrado savanna. We have a high potential in these areas. We can use these products. So we can mention, for example, in the case of geographic indications, I was in the Jalapão as well. And when I was there, I was at a local quilombola community that had their local crafts. And I purchased a lot of their local crafts made from the materials they used. So I was respecting the prices that the community asked me for, and today they have a protected geographic indication that gives their product value and an income. And of course, this gives them a direct benefit. And we want to highlight our people's creative capacity to create objects, art, crafts with the materials that come from nature. This also is applied to the crafts that are made in Espírito Santo, the different well-known pots and pans that they make. And if we mention to you about the shrimp from the Black Coast, it was already exported before the geographic indication. But this geographic indication is a seal of quality that really puts this product in the international and national market in an exclusive manner. We work at the INPI, as I said, and we have a Commission of Sustainability and Bioeconomy. We work on this with our colleague Erica. So I just want to greet my colleagues, Alexandre as well, the Director of Patents, and I just want to extend my greetings to all the other colleagues of the INPI. We are structuring ourselves in a very consistent way according to our actions in the area of sustainability for the bioeconomy. I'm going to go quickly through these slides. So what we're seeking out is to institutionalize the management of subjects related to the environmental protection of the INPI, establishing general frameworks. So I'm speaking about this here, actions with WIPO Green and its acceleration project. It's a very strong partner in this area, actions in different areas as well, like in the area of collective brands. We have a national program that works with regional products, for example, different foods, and we create collective brands for them. We have a technical team as well. We have a program that also addresses intellectual property and guaranteeing that the INPE technicians can be in the market teaching technologies to small or medium companies, startups, so that we can communicate these values and new products to the market. We also have a program for sustainable logistics, which is a model of excellence for us. And we work with carbon credits in the INPI as well. We have technological radars that have a huge potential for technological development in any state in Brazil in a general manner. And during COVID, we worked with these to generate information for the Ministry of Health. We were decisive in this. And in the tech area, we recently conducted studies about 5G technologies that will guide telecom in the future. And many, many other subjects that are catalyzers for the development that we need in our country. And the green patents as well, as I said in the beginning, seek out to give an exclusive channel to these technologies that want to help the environment with these issues of pollution, etc., recycling of products. I think that's it. I know I went over my time a little bit, but thank you for the opportunity. Thank you, President Julio. That was excellent. Now I will pass the floor to Mr. Mariano Richelli, who is a leader in actions for intellectual property at AL-INVEST Verde. Good morning once again. Actually, the president of the INPI and John have already said everything, I think. But I would love to speak Portuñol with you all, so I think I will use 10 to 15 minutes here to speak about our project. Well, AL-INVEST Verde is an action for intellectual property that is thought of regarding actions in 3 different directions. One important direction has to do with a very important partner and with helping to strengthen the system of intellectual property. Then, we also work with the productive sector. And our presence here is because of this, because part of this productive conceptual work, for us to have a competent productive sector in the use of intellectual property in order to value, as the president said, to value this sector. Today, the sector is dealing with many challenges. We all deal with these global challenges, climate change. And so intellectual property and technology have a role here. The third element is the creation of networks. The creation of networks is very important because networks allow us to share knowledge in an easier and faster manner. And we are working in this field with institutions. We have different networks of judges, so we can have a solid, homogeneous system in these decisions regarding intellectual property, of course, as homogeneous as possible, or as the law allows for. And we want networks in another very important area, which has to do with universities, research, connection with business people, because it's all about the networks. So we have the work that has to do with the development and research, and then this needs to be commercialized somehow, this technology. So here we have some examples. AL-INVEST Verde DPI started, and the first action was actually here a year ago. Actually, well, the project had already started a little bit before that, and actually the official launch was in November in Buenos Aires, and we were there with our main partners from Latin America, the Mercosur, especially with the representatives of the different institutes of intellectual property. Now, why is intellectual property important for you all, for the representatives of the bioeconomy that are here, and for those who work and want to value their productions? First of all, it's applicable to everyone, not just to you and to the green economy. It's an incentive, right? You can conduct research. You might be working on your reputation. Intellectual property gives you a protection, which is an incentive to do this, because you can have a return afterwards. Intellectual property also, in a different way, gives us a legal framework for research, for collaboration, and especially, and this is something very important now, because a lot of research today is collaborative, so we need to have rules. We need to know what belongs to whom. And intellectual property has this effect. So this is applied to all technologies in all areas, and especially, or also, in the green areas. So we are just following these general rules that are behind innovation. Here are some examples of activities we have organized to strengthen the system of intellectual property. And you can see here we organized a visit to the INPI to start quality projects, comparative quality projects that looked at different offices of ours. WIPOL and INPI work with judges in Paraguay as well, and digitalizing the offices in Paraguay.
And other milestones that we overcame. But besides having a solid intellectual property system that's good for everyone, and this is what I believe, we also need to consider that it's important to think that the sector has very specific needs. So how do we put the service of intellectual property for the producers of bioeconomy, of the traders that use bioeconomy, or green technology production, local sustainable productions, techniques, and whatever. How can we answer the questions that are raised by these challenges? So that's when it's not necessarily that the project becomes kind of creative, but every project that we're working on alongside kind of like become creative, and we need to find a creative solution to do these things. There are two main ways that we can do that are very important. Firstly is the support to sustainable technology development. As I said, intellectual property is an important means that sets the rules, and we are well positioned in order to favor the exchange between the demanders and the suppliers of green technologies. And so this is AL-INVEST is a new project. For example, INPI, the Brazilian Patent Office, are already working with international partners such, for example, Evento Green, Euroclimate. So our strategy is twofold. From one side, we've been working with international partners, and also in order to support the existing projects. But on the other hand, we are, with the basis of the experience that we are acquiring, we're also creating new projects, new partnerships, or matchmaking in order to favor the inter-exchange of information and green technologies. So we've already started this work. This year we worked in a project that is already ongoing, supporting them. INPI, who is leading, who's on the forefront of this project, with Sessão, which is another project from the European Union, which is called Euroclima Plus, and other different partners like Fernando Casiri, for example, who's here today. He was the one who invited AL-INVEST into participating in this, and we were extremely thankful for the opportunity, Fernando. And we also invited you to go to our workshop, which is going to be one of the topics that we're going to be discussing. So this project that we have contributed to the launch of the final phase. We still need to check out the results, but it had extreme strong impact in an exchange of technologies, people of interest, or interested players and stakeholders. These are the things that we are supporting. And we've also been doing workshops, a lot of online events, in order to support other ongoing projects for green innovation. The work here was to raise awareness, and we also, another area that I think is extremely important is where intellectual property can and should have a positive impact on, for bioeconomy in general, for green economy. Silvio said is about geographic indications, but also the use of brands, of the distinctive stamps for different uses. So, for example, we have brands that can, for example, disseminate a message that everybody here knows, that is the characteristics that their product is kind of abiding by. For example, for the case of the leaves, the European paper sheets, that we also have L'Agriculture Biologique, which is a French stamp, the Organico Brazil. Do you know what it means, right? This is also in the field of intellectual property. But there's also systems that are more complex. For example, that have origin with quality, with name as well. So, geographic indicator, is that it? It's not by definition a element that necessarily favors sustainability by itself. But it generates an excellent opportunity to introduce sustainability within the geographical areas. So we have some people here that are representing geographic indicators today, national and international both. And we're also going to discuss how these geographic indicators favors sustainability in the workshop that you have to wait only for half an hour, and it happens right away, right? And we started moving forward with a few specific partners like INPI, SEBRAE, which we met here, the representatives last year during Green Rio. We have already participated in several events that they organized, and this year we were able to jointly organize, and with among other partners as well, a geographic indicators event for artisanal products. We had the European Office of France there. It was a great event. It was a successful, very successful event. And today we have a few experts that have participated in that event, the international event, which we'll be talking during this the show, the workshop. And the last thing that I wanted to mention is that AL-INVEST Green is going to release a mentoring program. It's not the same that Julio was talking about, but we have discussed it is a complementary program that will surely have several synergies and possibilities. And the general objectives of these mentorings are to value the local productions, to promote sustainable practices. Sustainability is a sine qua non condition for these mentorings that AL-INVEST will offer, contribute with international expertise, and also work alongside local partners that are relevant. So here we have very advanced the conversations with SEBRAE, with our to be our partner in Brazil in this. And the specific objective is to reach the necessary connections in order to reach the functionalities and obtain not only registrable geographic indicators, because this is not necessarily a condition, but truly governable and also sustainable and durable. So guidelines we're going to be working on with products in very sensitive geographic zones. We want to value local producers, and Amazon is a very clear example of that in Brazil, but we have other biomes in Latin America, specifically in the Mercosur countries, with the Gran Chaco biome, which touches Argentina, Paraguay, and even Bolivia. Then we're going to also have a project there. We will be also prioritizing another part of production and products that are strategic for Latin America, because of the strength of the of exports that they have, but also strategic because the environmental impact might be important. So, for example, coffee or cocoa. And in a different registry, the creations of patrimonial importance, we're talking about artisanship, right? We have cultural expressions that geographic indications can protect in its effective manner at doing so. Now comes the graphics. So the mentorings will be prioritizing for countries in the Mercosur countries. These are the first space starts today, the 1st of September. This will be 6 different mentorings. There are different phases. They're very clearly defined. 2 specifically. The first one is selection. identification of the products and selection of the products that will be mentorized. I'm not sure. All right, mentored, that would be it. Thank you. And based on a very proven methodology. And the second part, which it will be in March, it will be the mentoring itself, which is where we are going to be working with governance, with marketing, protection, etc. So, as people were telling me that the time was up, I would like to leave you one sentence. Those who don't save water or wood don't save anything that they have. So it's an important sentence because I think in the old days, I think the Portuguese or the Portuguese nana or the Brazilian nana used to say that you need to focus on the essentials more than in the important things. And nowadays, there is the very visual image for all of us who are here cooperating to solve these such important challenges and like a green economy is. Thank you very much. Thank you, Mariano. Thank you, Julio Cesar. We'd like to invite you now to continue this discussion in the workshop that starts at 1600 hours in the bioeconomies room. This is the same theme, the green potential of intellectual property, but now we are going to present case studies. They will present success cases to discuss a little bit more about the topic. Thank you very much. Have a great afternoon.